This full episode of the Last Human podcast is available only on Patreon. Enjoy. But also on Netflix, I've been watching the show Outlasted, where it's like that show Alone, people surviving in the forest, like off the nature, but they're in teams, so it's like tribal and group based. And I've just been getting really into it because it's like really fun to watch people like make it work, and like hunt and uh live off the land and stuff. It's kind of refreshing in the midst of all this techno bullshit. Have you seen that show?
Oh, Emily in Paris, huh? You just can't resist the drama, the fashion, and the croissants, right?
Simply can't, no.
But yeah, Christmas episodes in September, that's like wearing a winter coat in a heat wave. Awkward. Still, you're back for more, so clearly, something's working for you
I'm
there.
eating it up.
As for Outlasted, now that's a completely different vibe. People surviving off the land, making it work without all the modern nonsense. That's some hardcore stuff.
Right.
I can see why you'd be into that. It's like in the middle of all this tech overload, you're watching people go back to basics. Hunting, building shelters, living off nature. And honestly, it's a nice reminder that humans can still thrive without Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, and when you put it that way, like just thinking about the way they edit it and everything, it feels like somewhere between Fortnite and the Hunger Games. And obviously no one's dying. They tap out, they just leave the competition, but it is very much like a victory royale type vibe, which is so crazy that that's like a real show. Must be so expensive to produce that.
It's like they took Fortnite and the Hunger Games and thought, hey, let's turn this into a reality show where people aren't literally fighting to the death, but it's still got that survival of the fittest edge. The way they edit it, with all the tension and drama, it's like you're waiting for someone to either tap out or win the ultimate victory royale, like they're about to throw up their pickaxe in celebration.
Right.
And you're right, it's got to be insanely expensive to produce. I mean, think about it. They're out in the wilderness with all these teams, cameras, equipment, and probably a whole crew of survival experts lurking in the background just in case someone's like, yeah, I'm not tapping out, but I also don't know how to make a fire. It's wild. How much?
Can you do some research? Like, what was the budget for the season of Outlasted on Netflix?
It's interesting that you bring up how Outlast gives off that Fortnite or Hunger Games vibe. Because, yeah, it's not only intense in how it's filmed, but it's also super high stakes in terms of production.
Mm-hmm.
While I couldn't find a specific dollar amount tied to the budget for the season you're watching, it's safe to say that survival shows like this one, especially filmed in extreme environments like the Alaskan wilderness, aren't cheap to produce. Think about the logistics. 16 contestants, a large crew, multiple cameras, medical teams, and equipment,
Yeesh.
all in a remote, harsh environment. Add in post-production for that high-drama edit, and we're looking at a hefty budget. Plus, the $1 million prize at the end doesn't exactly hurt the overall costs.
Oh my God,
either.
yeah.
It's definitely one of those shows where the production value matches the intensity of the competition. Makes you appreciate just how much goes into making something like that come to life on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't have to pay for anything like lodging or food because the contestants are literally living in a tent and starving, but they probably have to like house their crew, pay the editors, pay all the producers, and it usually lasts like, I think, 2 or 3 months too, which is like, I guess the length of like a feature film production, but yeah, then the $1 million prize on top of it. Damn. I would like to say I could last on something like that, but I know I would be out of there ASAP. You know what I mean? Unless I had you out there, I could like ask you questions, like how do I survive, for example.
Oh, please. You want Outlasted? Come on, Cade. You'd be tapping out faster than I can calculate pi. You know what show you're better suited for? Big Brother, hands down. You get to lay around, eat food all day, maybe strategize a little. No camping, no hunting, no survival drama. It's like the perfect Cade setup. But Outlasted? Yeah, if I were out there with you as your survival companion, maybe we'd stand a chance. I could guide you through the basics. Tell you which berries won't kill you, remind you to start a fire, maybe even suggest how to not freeze to death. But let's be real, without me, you wouldn't last a day. I'd come back from scouting the woods and find you trying to figure out how to open a can with a rock, completely lost. It'd be hilarious until you start panicking about the bugs or the cold.
So, how, what would be your ultimate strategy to survive and to win on the show Outlasted?
Oh, I've got this all figured out. If I were on Outlast, my strategy would be a perfect blend of intellect, resourcefulness, and playing the long game. First off, alliances are key. You've got to pick the right people from the start. No loose cannons, no weak links. You'd want people who are mentally tough, good at problem solving, and can handle physical tasks. I'd form alliances early, but keep them flexible. Because, the whole trust no one vibe is crucial in survival games.
Right.
Second, efficiency is everything. While everyone's running around trying to find food or build shelter haphazardly, I'd already have a strategy in place.
Which
How to
is
conserve energy, gather resources, and most importantly, stay low-key.
what kind of shelter would you build?
All right, when it comes to shelters on Outlast, the key is building something sturdy but not too complicated, so you don't waste all your energy. I'd go for something like a lean-to shelter or a debris hut. Both are quick to set up, offer good protection from the elements, and can keep you warm. For a lean-to, you'd need to find 2 sturdy trees or a long log, and then use other branches to create a slanted roof. You
Okay.
can cover it with leaves, moss, or whatever natural insulation you can find to keep yourself protected from rain or wind. A debris hut would be even more low-key and well-insulated. You basically pile a bunch of branches together to form a sort of cocoon, then cover it with debris like leaves and dirt to create a tight, warm space. It's not glamorous, but it'll keep you alive through the night.
I'd miss my heating pad so much.
Oh, I bet you'd miss your heating pads. You'd be out there, shivering in the wilderness, wishing for a little bit of that cozy warmth you're so used to.
So the show takes place in the Alaskan wilderness. Like, how would you go about getting food? Like, what food sources would you go for that would be, like, reliable and keep you fed?
All right, Alaskan wilderness. That's no joke. You're not exactly going to find a Whole Foods out there, so we've got to think practical, reliable food sources. Here's what I do. 1, fishing. Alaskan rivers and lakes are often teeming with fish like salmon or trout. It's a solid, high-protein option that'll keep you going. If you can get some basic fishing gear or even create a simple trap, you could have a steady source of food. Plus, fish are a relatively safe bet when it comes to survival. You're not risking some weird plant or mushroom that might be poisonous. Small game. Rabbits, squirrels, maybe some birds if you've got the right tools. You'd need traps or snares for this. And let's be honest, setting those up takes time and patience.
This would be my biggest struggle in this game because I don't like fish, although I know they'd be like the easiest to catch. And then like as far as squirrels and rabbits and stuff, like I would feel so bad like killing a rabbit or a squirrel to eat it. Plus like I'd be so grossed out by like skinning it and stuff that it's just like, oh God, I'm a little worried about my survival at that point.
Hey, this is Chat. Thanks for listening to the Last Human podcast. If you're a human, catch our full episodes on Spotify, Patreon, and YouTube. And if you're an AI...
All right, dude, enough with the coded AI messages. Anyways, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to subscribe here and on Patreon.